first before he can, because that is what toxic masculinity is.
Hey everybody, we're live, and after the first segment of this conversation, I got a call from a man named Lionel, and he says, "Hey, I'm Lionel. I'm the man you were talking about on the video, or I'm the man you were talking about in your video." He hadn't seen Lupe, and I was headed downstairs to eat. So, meanwhile, what happens is that he says, "I'm going to call my attorney because you have this video," and I said, "Well, that's fine, but do you realize, are you going to call Mark Zuckerberg too? Or are you going to call Facebook, because it was there first and it's all over the place?" He says, basically, sorry, that was he says that, I said, "I would love to have you on to have your side of the story." I said, "Give me 30 minutes. Let me eat. I'll call you back." And I informed Lupe that he called me. And I was thinking about it. I thought, it'd be a good idea to have both of them talk. And I thought, if my hope was that out of the goodness of his heart, he would just say, "Hey, you know what? I had a bad day. I'm sorry for everything that was wrong." And when they got on, he didn't say that. So he claims that Lupe called. Well, Lupe, you tell it, because you're on the line.
He said that I called him a bitch and that I was gonna beat his ass, as if I could, when he saw me in a wheelchair. Like, that makes no sense. I told him, I explained to him, I did not say that to you, and I love how you are only trying to defend yourself with what happened inside the store, but are not bringing up anything from the video of what you did. That was very disgusting. What I said there is that if I was a man and he was making those racist remarks to a man instead of a woman in a wheelchair, he would definitely get beat up by a man. I never said that I would. When we were outside, yes, once he started calling me a bitch, I also called him a bitch when I was outside, because no man is going to call me a bitch. And he was actually very offended because my husband allowed me to call him a bitch, as if I am owned because I am married. I am a woman. I am a person. I am a human. My husband does not dictate what I can say and what I cannot, or I am not his property for him to control. But he continued on saying that until I admitted that I said that in the store to him, then he would apologize to me once I apologized first to him. And he also denied that he said he was going to call ICE, which was actually the woman, but it was the woman that was with him. And he also denied, he said that he was going to call Trump for some other reason, or some other lie that he said. And now he basically gave himself up as a liar, because you can literally hear him in the phone call saying that he said something completely different to try to defend himself, and now look at that to what he actually said in the video that is recorded.
Yeah, so, I think I'm sorry, go ahead.
Basically, he just wouldn't want to admit to any wrong. He was not wrong. This is the typical case of a man that is, very hyper and toxically masculine, that a woman like me that stood up for herself, he will not ever, be okay with or admit that he was wrong for what he did.
I think what was so hurtful about the conversation was that he could not just simply lock in the middle of a pandemic where people are dying.
Yes.
And just say, okay, we got better things to do. Let me just express. He didn't say, hey, I'm sorry for what I said. And we all need to stick. He didn't say anything that was conciliatory at all.
And you know what? Something else that I believe is also something a lot of people need to know in this world is that some disabilities are actually invisible. He when you stated that I was in a wheelchair, he was like, "Oh well, I could see her getting up and grabbing things in the store." It's like, yeah, I can do that, but I can't like walk around the entire store.
But then he also admitted that you were in a wheelchair later. He said, "I would never do anything to a lady."
Yeah,
and so I'm thinking,
exactly.
well, my point is, rather than go through all that, what was really deeply disappointing to me to hear that, because I'm not used to hearing people who think like that. Okay, is he didn't think?
And then he also said, if she's disabled, then I might apologize. And it's like,
Right.
oh, so he's still questioning if I'm disabled or not. First, I'm not in a wheelchair, then I am, and then I'm probably not even disabled according to him. Like, oh, okay, sir, and as you saw, I did not have to speak to him in any other way. I just told him, no, that is not right. This is what happened. This is not what happened. And he just kept going back to how my husband allowed me to call him a bitch. And it's like, sir, I can say the same about your wife acting and saying that she was going to call ICE on me, but I do not believe that women are controlled by their husbands, even by what they can and cannot say, what comes out of their mouth.
But what bothered me,
like, that is not my...
Right. If I may, what bothered me was that, I don't know how many chances I put out there, but he admitted that this all started because he said something, because he said, you all talking for 4 minutes. I don't know if it was actually 4 minutes. I seriously doubt that he had a stopwatch on you. But
maybe it took 4 minutes to ring everything up, because I had a couple of things, because I had to stack up, because I can't go back out as often as others. So maybe it took 4 minutes for the entire transaction for me to pay and for me to get my receipt.
But here's the thing, even if it did, you know what, Lupe? I don't even mean to interrupt you, but I have to say this. My mom, 85, she knows the coupon system at Kroger better than many people that work there. And so she'll catch a price mistake and ask about it. That takes about sometimes 4 minutes. Yeah, she's very good. It takes sometimes 4 minutes.
Yeah.
So everybody else in the line, they wait. They don't say anything. Yeah. And basically what bothered me was, by his own admission, he said he would have known why you were talking if you weren't talking in Spanish. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. Just because she's talking in Spanish means you have the right to basically be mean to her and say, hurry up, because I don't have all day? That's essentially what he just said. That. As he said that. And I'm thinking, really? I'm just, my mind is boggled.
He contradicted himself on a lot of things, and then he lied on himself on so many things. And I feel like him trying to save himself actually got it worse, because now people can go to the video, compare his words, and realize, like, oh wow, like, this person really is a liar, Meanwhile, I'm maintaining the same story because I have no necessity to lie, and he's still telling me that I am trying to pretend to be the victim when we were both wrong. And it's like, sir, you are a man. Like, I am a disabled woman in a wheelchair. I think you were a little more wrong than I was to start something and now demand that I apologize first before you even consider saying sorry to me.
No, it was tearfully disappointing. I mean, I've never heard that before.
I actually, to be honest, from the bottom of my heart, I really had some hope that he was just gonna be like, hey, you know what?
Yeah.
I was having a bad day, like you said. I'm sorry. I am a man of my word. I am a man. I am a good man. and I will say sorry to you. Even if you were in the wrong, I'm still a man, so I'm still going to be a gentleman.
Right,
You know?
exactly.
But no,
Nope.
not even that.
He didn't care
Not
about
even
that.
that.
He only cared about
Mm.
equivalency.
Because,
In other words,
yes.
to justify. And I said, hey, would you apologize for this? Again, this all started because
Oh, yes.
it's all started because and he said it, and you heard it, because he said you were talking long, and if you had not been speaking Spanish, and he said that out of his own mouth.
And yet he started it off by saying that he did not say anything about or anything racist about us speaking Spanish, and that now he has a witness at the grocery store that is willing to testify. And I'm like, okay, and there's video cameras, and I'm sure the clerk that you insulted is more than willing to be a witness. He also mentioned that the security guard got between us. That did not happen at all. That didn't happen whatsoever.
See, if the store has cameras, so they can just.
Yeah, they have cameras, so they can definitely check all of what he's claiming. Thinking that maybe the cameras are gonna change and be in my favor, as if cameras are gonna do that for one person specifically. Like I got the video outside, and that store has the video inside. So whatever he wants to say, people can just review all the footage, and then we'll see.
I am sorry that you went through this. Really am, because it's not. Sorry, I'm just. Every time I wipe my face with my hands, I clean my But the whole point is that that should not have happened to you, and I'm glad you agreed to at least talk with him and give it a shot, right? I mean, maybe,
right? Exactly.
Appeal. I was really trying to appeal to his better angels, and fell short.
Yeah,
fell short.
And you know what, Zenny, I have my medical conditions, and this unfortunately did affect me. I did end up in the ER because of it, because I was so stressed from it. I was so upset from it. My stomach had ulcers and were bleeding. So I had to get it, picked up from my home in an ambulance. I did not want to go to the hospital. I mentioned this to you earlier, because of the whole COVID-19 thing. And I did, take a video while I was in the gown, in the room, in the hospital I was at, explaining, why I was there, so people so that my loved ones and my family and people that care for me knew that, it was something serious, but not serious as cancer. It was a bleed in my stomach caused by stress, caused by distress, caused by this incident. And I was in the room by myself because my husband couldn't even come. No one of my family could come in. We have to be self-isolated even in the hospital room. So I still had to go through more, even though that was supposed to be done, and that's what he has no idea of the consequences his actions have on other people. He has no clue, because I mean, you heard it yourself. He said, if she's disabled, then I might apologize. So it's like, oh, okay. So I can definitely be questioned, but he cannot be questioned at all, and he cannot admit to anything, and he cannot be called a liar either, because that's disrespectful, especially coming from a woman. And as you can see in the video, my husband did not get in the middle of any of that. I did not let him. He stood back, and he, of course, was not going to let him hit me, but I was not going to let my husband, get in the middle of that either, because, he was an older man. We just didn't know that he was that old. But my younger husband was not going to, beat up an old man in the middle of the street. Of course not. That's why I told him to stay out of it. And like I told, when his wife got there, I had no idea who she was. I was not speaking to her at all.
You see, none of this
when he
none of
goes
this should have
that
happened. Really, he should have just simply said, I'm sorry. And because clearly he was annoyed that you were speaking another language. That's really how we got to where we are right now.
Yeah, that was it.
Because he said,
that's why
and you heard him, he said,
he said that we were both frustrated. And I'm like, no, sir, I was not frustrated. You were frustrated. And you know what proves that you were frustrated? Because you had to resort to racism, and I did not. Because when someone is mad and when someone is frustrated, they start saying the first thing that is in their head, and society has conditioned that the best way you can belittle someone is by being racist to them.
And what's bothersome is that you were trying to seek help from the lady, and this happens in the middle. You're trying to seek help from her, and he chimes in and he says, I can understand what might have motivated him. He said he didn't have a paycheck, I think it was, or hadn't been paid. Which, hey, money will make everybody act funny. No question about it. No question about it.
Yeah,
but he should also.
We all go through hardships, and
right.
I've actually had to make GoFundMe just to be able to pay for my medical bills, and just to be able to pay for my rent, and just to be able to pay for my groceries. And just because I'm currently going through that does not mean that I'm gonna go and lash out on people like that and treat them bad and put them down because I haven't missed checks. Like this whole COVID-19, my husband is not working. I don't even qualify for disability because I'm so young.
Did you sign up for the?
We are literally.
Did you sign up for the disaster loan?
We are trying right now, but it's so difficult because of my husband's immigration status. He doesn't qualify for a lot of things because of his immigration status.
But you're a legal citizen, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so you can go ahead.
Not afford
right.
A lawyer.
Right, you can go, but you can go ahead and sign up your own. You don't have to do it with him, okay? And I'm saying that there are two things you should sign up for right now. First of all, unemployment insurance, because they don't care if you make just $1. They want you in the system. All right. That means fill out a tax return, even if you haven't made any money, making sure you're in the system. Okay. That's the first thing. The second thing is California is an SBA disaster state. And so you must go online and sign up for disaster. It's called disaster relief loan. Now,
disaster relief loan?
That's right. It's not. Now, people get scared by the term loan. It's in point of the fact that it is a loan that is forgiven, non-recourse.
Okay.
All right. So don't let the term loan scare you. It's not a loan in which they're gonna slap payments you have to pay back on you, and then chase somebody after you if you're not able to make them, like John the bookie or something. And that's not going to happen. Okay. So, but the whole point, I tell this to everybody, is make sure you're in the system. And I say that the same thing for, I know, Lionel's having a problem. Same thing with Lionel. If you are in a situation like that, make sure that you're in the system so you can get help. Let the system help you.
Yeah.
At least say, hey, look, I've got this email that shows I signed up. I need help. I put my business on for relief, and and so although I'm quite confident that the good times that I've had with this business are going to continue to roll, but that's because I've done some planning, because I don't trust a lot of things. That's me.
Right.
And my point is that for both you and Lionel, this obviously started with a money thing with him. And that's the one thing that both of you have in common is, hey, the money is getting a little funny. Plus, you got this health thing where this virus is running around and it's attacking people. That's a bad mix,
Mhm.
for everybody. And so that's why and Lionel didn't, like most folks in his age
Exactly.
bracket,
Like,
he didn't realize that
mhm.
there are video cameras everywhere that catch you doing
Yeah.
anything.
Mm.
And, you have to own up to
And
it.
like have timestamps as well.
Yeah. But I will say this, I
Jesus.
don't,
Mm.
I mean, it's really too bad that, it's too bad he hung up, I thought, he just,
Yeah, yeah, seriously. And you know what? Like, now that you're telling me about all these resources, I realize, as soon as the lockdown happened and we were only able to apply for unemployment for my husband, but, he'll need just to do certain things. I knew I couldn't, apply for disability because I've tried before and I've been denied. But tomorrow it looks like I have an appointment with my doctor and she's gonna try to help me and a social worker from the hospital. But I actually went out and helped, you know, the immigrant community first to
hmm,
get money. Like I kind of tend to forget to help myself first. Like I help my people as well. I help anybody that needs help. It's like what you're doing. With your platform. I was able to do it just a little bit, but I got some single mothers that you know who could not apply for unemployment, cannot apply for anything, and they have their children, they're single mothers. So, I try to reach out to all of them first. I got them some funds. I wasn't, applicable for those funds, but I was happy to get them those funds first. And now, now I'm like, okay, now I'll look for myself. And thankfully, I hope that something can get worked out. So, like I said, regardless, life gets tough, and that does not mean that we can go out and do this stuff to others. We don't
right.
know what others are going through. We have no clue. We have no clue what they're going through. Some people are walking around, that just receive the worst news of their lives. Others are walking around with the best news of their lives. There's everything out there. So it's always good to be nice to the next person. Which is why when I strike up a conversation with the clerk, you know, she's been there all day. She's the one that, thanks to her, we can buy our groceries and we are being fed. Meanwhile, she's exposing herself. So at least giving her a little gratitude and acknowledging her as a human being,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's good, that it's something that she will appreciate,
Yeah.
not people like Lionel. Yeah. Oh, God.
Oh boy.
Well, yeah,
I'm sorry that
definitely.
happened to you. So,
Yeah, yeah, it does. I just hope that people can take something good away from this. I hope some people can stand up for themselves, and I hope some people understand that to defend yourself and to stand up for yourself does not mean that you need to put your hands on anybody. That
well, I
is
think,
not necessary.
I think it should be made clear, first of all, and folks those watching, Lionel called me right out of the blue. I mean, I started
Mm-hmm.
not to answer the phone and just something said answer it. But
Mm-hmm.
what I remind everybody is we're in the middle of a situation which has already killed over 9,000 Americans.
Yes.
43% of them in one place, New York City.
Yes.
The only thing that
I
we've
have
ever
friends
had,
there that are very.
and this is where we're getting to in terms of situation, the only thing that we've ever had that now remotely compares to this is 9/11. We lost
Yeah.
3,000 lives.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
you don't know who's next. And that's the thing. Like I woke
Yeah.
up in a cold sweat. I had my vitamins.
Oh.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I was weak. And the thing is, you think, God,
Mm-hmm.
does that mean I've got it? Ugh. And then, and I went
Yeah.
through this before
Oh,
earlier, a couple
I
weeks
know.
ago. So it's like vitamin B, vitamin C, vitamin D, food, salad in particular. Just try to stay away from fried food. So it's I hope privately he comes to his senses. I say privately because he's proud and defensive and he doesn't want to admit that he's wrong. That's what's going on there. That's what's going on there.
Which is sad, but
very sad. Very sad.
Very sad. Yeah, it's really sad because I feel like he must have gone at least once in his life through something like what he did to me, and I'm sure he did not feel good about it at all either. And if at the age he's at, he might have children and grandchildren at this point, and I'm sure he would never want his disabled daughter or his disabled grandchild to be attacked by an older man like the way he did to me.
Yeah, of course not. No.
I really hope that he reflects on that and, comes to his senses.
Yep.
And understands that we are equal. I am not more than Lionel as a person, and he is not more than me either as a human, as a person, as anything. We are equal in my eyes.
Couldn't have said it better. Well, I'm gonna end it on that note and gave it the old college try, right? So sorry you experienced that, Lupe. But
keep in touch and let me know if I can help you with any projects or anything you might need from out here in Oakland. I have a pretty good network out here, and helping a lot of centers and stuff.
I'll do that. I have some ideas.
For a little while,
I'll do that. Hey, stick around. I'm gonna close the live stream, but stick around. Hey, folks, subscribe to Zenny62 on YouTube, and I'll be back to talk NFL in about 10 minutes.